Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it douse, not what I'm about, have your cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Yeah, that's always so fun. Always so fun. Sometimes I just sit up here and vibe hard before the shows. Uh-oh. There. Look, I've already got folks chilling. Oh, how cool is that? What up, everybody? How are y'all doing tonight? So, I'm sorry this is a little spur of the moment, but you know, I've had this nagging at me how I tried to live stream to you guys when I was on the road because I was so bored. And, you know, I started off with the story that I'm gonna only tell tonight. You know, it's the turnaround point. It's where things change for me and turn around. And it's really important that I get this out there. And I don't know why or the how, but for some reason today, it's been really pressing on me to make sure that I get it out to you guys. So we're gonna do that real quick. As you can tell, I'm in the hotel room. I'm somewhere over here in Louisiana, and yeah, let's pause that music. Sorry. So yeah, in Louisiana, in a hotel, fun times. So, anyways, before we do, hi Denise, I'm glad you made it here. And Pam's here. What up, Pam? Glad to see you guys. I'm hoping that my mic is working well enough and my audio sounds good this time. I was having a little bit of mic problems, and I'm hoping the Wi-Fi here is good enough. So if you guys start seeing problems, let me know. Okay? All right. So anyways, yeah, we're going to do just a little quick one. I wanted to tell you guys the story of, like, the last story that happened to me when I was living with my parents, because this is where things change. So, that being said, let's get into it, shall we? And also, if I look tired, y'all, I am just war slap out. It's been a rough day at the mill. I'll be glad to go home to Alabama. Anyways, so yeah. Let's see what we can't do. Pam says I sound good. Awesome. Cool. Well, that's a relief. I was worried. All right. So anyways. You know, it's interesting that I actually, at this part of my documentation process. I actually have dates written down. However, when I try to pull up my documents earlier from the road so that I could, like make sure that I am going in sequential order and be able to provide y'all the date, guess what? All my Google Docs are gone. All of them. And about a month and a half ago, actually, I noticed that that book that I alluded to that I wrote but was never going to release, that it was missing. And on one hand, I was like, oh, that sucks. That was a lot of work. On the other hand, I was like relieved. But now my encounters are gone. My resume is gone. All kind of important documents and stuff that I just have for life, gone. I don't know. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. So I can't give you the date. If that changes, I'll put it in the notes or something. But anyways, let's see here. It was in the summer. If memory serves, it was actually rained that night, and let's see here. I want to say that it was a Saturday, but it could have been a Friday because I was asleep, getting ready to go to work, and the little one was sleeping in with me. And I've got everything all blacked out, so that way I can get some good sleep. And, before all this, the things weren't really like coming at me in a way that put me right off into sleep paralysis anymore, if you'll recall. Like that it had started to become a thing because, I was back on that path of let's give it back to God, let's be a Christian and see if things don't change. I mean, it started to working out. It started working out. I got serious about it. Words weren't empty; they were for real and from the heart. When I would have nightmares, they would be strange, and I don't know if there's anything to it because dreams are dreams, But like, I'm the kind of person to where if I have a dream and I wake up remembering it, I feel like I'm supposed to get something out of it. So there's a little bit of that there. And I started developing, as I like to refer to it, as the superpower of when I start having a nightmare that I know is more than a nightmare, I'm able to be aware that I'm dreaming and try to wake myself up. And it feels like I'm swimming through like the thickest molasses or lifting the heaviest weight. But like that's my conscious, and the entire time I'm crying out to Jesus. I'm saying it over and over and over. And oftentimes, if I didn't wake up soon enough, my wife would wake me up and be like, "Hey, you're talking in your sleep." And like the first time I was like, "Oh, really? What'd I say?" And she's like, "Well, it started off as a mumble, but eventually it sounded like you were saying Jesus." I was like, "I was. It's working. Cool." So yeah, kind of I don't know, it's a little lame as far as superpowers go, but it's still cool. Still worked out great for me. Denise says, pay attention to dreams. They are not just dreams. Yeah, sometimes. It was weird because like when those things would happen, it'd be like a normal weird dream, I guess you could say. Like, I don't know, let's just say lollipops and unicorns or something silly, right? And then it's like a switch gets flipped, and then it's like, crazy nightmare. I'm being attacked, I'm being chased, somebody I love is being attacked or chased, and it's like weird. Like, I know I've seen the dog man that I've experienced, I think twice, but maybe just once. And the other one I think could have been maybe the black one that my grandmother saw on the backside of our property. I don't know. Either way, in the dream, it was definitely a, dog man both times, which I hate that name. Hate that name. But anyways, whatever. We all know what it means, right? So we'll just stick with it. But anyways, yeah, so let's get back to it. So I'm in bed with the little one and I'm dead asleep. And all of a sudden I get woke up. And I'm woke up in sleep paralysis. And that's the first time in a while that's happened. And I was like, oh no, what's happening? And over to my left, there's something right there close to my face, like really close. I'm able to move my eyes enough to look over at it. And man, creepy. It looks a lot like a gray alien, only different. It's very distorted looking. Like the way I kind of like imagine or try to put words to it, I guess you could say, is like a gray alien and a ghost kind of mixed together with some touches of just straight up hellspawn demon. Because it looks very much like a gray, but its features are very distorted and it's very wispy. It's almost like it's very vapory. And it looks super, super just disconcerting and scary. Like, I mean, grays aren't exactly known to be the prettiest group anyways. Not that, I think that they're what they say they are, but I digress. But like this thing, it just has like the biggest grin and it's just got a mouthful of teeth. And it's just awful looking. Awful looking. And it's just right there in my face, just Cheshire cat grin, like, oh, I got you this time. You stuck. Granted, I can't hear what it says, but like, that's definitely the vibe that it's putting off. So I can't hear anything, to be honest. And it's basically like, I guess you could say floating, and it comes from the side and it's right in my face this time, and it's just jeering at me and laughing at me, and it seems to be really enjoying the fact that, ooh, I got you, look at you, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So obviously I can't talk, but the good news is brain works. So I know exactly what's going on and I know what to do. And I start crying out unto Jesus. And it's just it's mostly like a constant, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. But there's a few, Jesus, please, I need you. I need you. There's some of that thrown in there too. And eventually I kind of start like remembering, I guess you could say. I'm remembering that the little one's in the bed with me. And as soon as I make that recollection, I don't know, like, I don't think that they can hear your thoughts. So I definitely don't fall in that camp. But if I had to guess, my eye movements were giving it away. Because all of a sudden, that grin, if it could get any bigger, got huge. And it slowly turned its head and then turned back to me. And it was like, oh, guess what I'm about to do? And it starts slowly floating over to her and getting in her face. And that's the breaking point where it's like, look, Jesus, I need you right now. Please, please break me free and let me be able to fight back, because I'm tired. I'm so tired of this being a thing in my life. And it was like almost instantly that as soon as I had made that prayer, I snapped out of it. I'm not in sleep paralysis anymore. And I rise up so quick and I grab that thing by the wrist and then pull it off of my daughter. And I pull it all the way to the other side to where it's hanging off the bed. And granted, it's still like floating there. And even though, it looked wispy, it's floating in the air like a wisp, for lack of a better term. It feels solid. Like I've got my hand around its wrist. I can feel it as solid as anything. So anyways, I jerk it over to the side of the bed. And this time, its facial expression changes. Instead of enjoying itself, in absolute glee of what it's doing, it's in terror. I mean, it's looking at me with shock and horror. And I don't know, maybe it's just the sheer anger of it all. I'm not sure. But there was no I rebuke you, no shit about a Honda, but about a Hyundai. I mean, there was nothing eloquent that I said. However, what I did say is the only name under heaven that everything must abide by. I was just screaming over and over and over in its face, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I'm just screaming it at it. And that shock and horror begins to turn into agony. And it's sitting there just writhing in pain, like, make it stop. Right? And I ain't stopping. I'm just over and over, just hammering that point home. And then all of a sudden, it disappears. Just winks out of existence. My hand that's grabbing it by the wrist collapses. I'm now holding nothing. And I look around. There's nothing. The only thing that I can feel now is an overwhelming sense of peace. I'm like, well, thank you, Jesus. I really needed that. Couldn't have done that without you, buddy. And I turn over and look at my daughter, and she's awake. And she's like wide-eyed, like, what's happening? I'm like, hey, baby, are you okay? And she goes, uh-huh. I said, did you see anything? Uh-uh. Did you hear anything? She said, only you, Daddy. I said, okay, good. And she says, is everything okay, Daddy? Bless her heart. And I said, yes, baby. Everything is fine. something scary decided to come into the room today. But for the first time, through the power of Jesus, Daddy was able to protect you and had victory. I'm glad that you didn't see anything, but no matter what, I just want you to know that everything is okay. And let's go back to bed. So we did. I had my hands wrapped around her like Daddy Bear, I guess. Like I mean, I was at peace, but I was still a little on edge. I'm not used to experiencing victory by this point. And every single noise I heard, I was up. I didn't get a wink of sleep that day. I was just like, lawnmower, I'm ready to kill. Anyways, so yeah, that was the last story that happened to me while I lived with my parents. And after that is when we got our house done, and we moved in that following November. So yeah, and that's a pretty chill time period. And things don't kick off again until this year at the late spring and midsummer-ish. I don't know. I have dates, but like I said, but I honestly don't have time to go into that tonight because I am so exhausted. Praise God. That's right. That's right. And I don't know why. Like I'm gonna be off all next week. I was like, yeah, I'll just do everything then. But for some odd reason tonight or today, it's just been heavy on my mind. Like, hey, if nothing else, you need to go and tell the story tonight. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if that's what you're telling me, Holy Spirit, then I guess that's what I need to go and do. So here we are. I'm not even got a Hawaiian shirt on. I'm not even home. I'm in Louisiana wearing the only thing that doesn't look like a work shirt that I can find. So, just wanted to make it happen for you. Because apparently somebody out there in YouTube land needs to hear it. So, hopefully it does. Hopefully they do. Hopefully it works out for you. But I'll go on a little bit, I guess. If you've paid attention from everything that I've said, it's a progress or a progression. That I'm backslidden, as we call it. Just not living my life right, running and gunning, and I try to initiate contact, and I do, or at least I felt like I did, and then I had confirmation as something showed up. And since then, it's been like a series of unfortunate events, I guess you could say. Stuff that really, really shouldn't be connected. How many times should I have been struck by lightning? Aliens, ghosts, shadow people, dogmen, giant spiders. It's weird. It's weird. And, well, thanks, man. Yeah. Thank you, Denise. I'm going to get some rest in a minute. But I'm going to catch you guys a little bit up to speed, though. You got to understand, for me, it was kind of like, well, maybe I'm special, or maybe I'm marked, or whatever, after that first experience with the alien at the driveway. But the truth of the matter was that you got to understand that making contact in that way, you're making essentially a contract with said beings. And when you're open to whatever to make contact with you, you're giving them the opportunity to do what they want when they want. Now, can you close said contracts? Yes. Some New Agey peoples like to say that there's protection things that you can do and spells and such. I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that. If it works for them, hey, go. But I do know that I tried that. And it did nothing. It did nothing. If anything, things ramped up. And I didn't begin to see any kind of a difference or change until I gave my life back to God and tried to start living right. Once I was trying to break my bad habits and trying to be a better person, things changed. There was no longer sleep paralysis. I had the ability to try to get up and fight, right? I mean, that's what I wanted to do. But, and then once I grew and began to do more digging and research on the subject and start realizing that, hey, what I actually did was initiate a type of contract. I needed to have that closed. And once I did, things changed. I mean, obviously something really strong had to come up and zap me into sleep paralysis, But it learned its lesson. It learned its lesson. And understand that, that's not me. That ain't me. I don't have any power to do anything. That's not how this works. But through the power of Jesus Christ, I can do all things. And so can you. So can you. So I guess what I'm saying is, when you start having problems like this and nothing seems to be working, what I'm telling you is to understand, one, give it to God. Two, be sincere and actually mean it. You can't hail Odin and pray to Jesus in a situation when you actually need him and it always work out for you. I mean, granted, grace is sufficient. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of times where people are not like the most religious and they're like, hey, Jesus, I need you. And things happen. Grace is sufficient for a lot. In my situation, it could only go so far because it was me who made the contract. I was willing and they were happy to oblige. So there is a difference. There is a difference. But if you say the words and you mean it, and instead of, well, as in a Perfect Circle song goes, instead of talking like Jesus, you decide to walk like Jesus, you're going to see some changes. So, for me, things changed. No longer afraid, know exactly what to do. Things don't exactly come at me anymore in that type of way, because they know that, well, one, I am willing to fight, and two, I got God on my side. So, yep, happy to fight. And you'll hear that more on the next round of stories that happened this year. It started at the end of March, around the time of the eclipse. I even got a picture from that. That's interesting. So, yeah, we'll see if we can't make a small podcast later on and tell those stories. But I just wanted to, complete this. Know that this is the time, this is the place where things change. And after this, the person I was is the same person you see now. That is what fully molded me into he who fishes for spam. Or perhaps he who fishes with spam. Well, something like that. Something witty, clever. I don't know. Fisher of spam. That's me. Jim Powell. So, yeah. Well, guys, that's all I got for you tonight. I hope everybody is doing well. And I love you. So, be on the lookout for more. And toki toki. Bye.